Hello, my fellow Extraordinary Americans. I'm Samaddar, and this is Extraordinary America. What is Extraordinary America about? You see, American identity is about freedom, the opportunity for a better life, and the pursuit of happiness. However, most Americans are not free when it comes to the financial front. Most Americans are suffering from financial slavery due to loss of jobs, stagnant wages, inflation, and debt of all kinds. Wealth and income inequality runs rampant across America, and the middle class is all but disappeared. So what is Extraordinary America about? Extraordinary America is about the abolition of financial slavery. It is about the financial freedom of the 99%. It is about the nation of immigrants and descendants of immigrants awakening and unleashing the extraordinary within themselves and setting themselves free. The path to financial freedom is through entrepreneurship and investing on the light side. It is about financial education, not only when it comes to money in the monetary systems, but also in regards to how to start a business, investing, especially when it comes to precious metals and real estate. In this podcast, I interview guests, many of whom came from humble beginnings, to see how they did it and how they attained financial freedom in their own lives and how they did business. And it is my hope that you will be inspired and you will want to awaken extraordinary within yourselves and realize the American dream. Once again, welcome to Extraordinary America. Welcome back to the show, my fellow Extraordinary Americans. For today's guest, we have Victor Straub. Victor has spent 26 years in the health and fitness industry as a fitness professional and business owner. He was raised on a dairy farm in Wisconsin, and when he was 18, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and served in the Persian Gulf War in 1991. Upon spending numerous successful years working for a large fitness company, he decided to venture out on his own to chase his dreams. Victor has owned 3 fitness businesses, including a personal training studio, a large multifaceted fitness facility, and a bootcamp group training business. Prior to COVID-19, he grew his bootcamp business to nearly $30,000 per month in revenues. Victor applies the training techniques and methods from the U.S. Marine Corps into his training. His fast-paced style and high-intensity workouts, coaching, and positive attitude offer extremely fast results. Victor claims that if this method works for one of the fittest fighting forces on the planet, then why not train others the same way? He has a passion to serve others, to experience greatness, build resilience, and to overcome obstacles and rise up after setbacks. He's an extraordinary American, and I'm glad to have him on the show. Victor, are you there?
I am.
Victor, thank you so much for taking the time to do this podcast with me. I'm really honored to have you on the show.
Thank you, Cosmos. I'm super excited and happy to be here, buddy.
So Victor, I know that you've been in the Marine Corps, you've been in the fitness industry, and you're a business owner. Can you tell me and the audience a little bit more about yourself, your background, and how you got started?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you the cliff notes. I'm from Wisconsin. I was raised on a dairy farm, so I learned the value of hard work from a very, very young age. And I played sports. I'm an outdoorsman. I love to be outside a lot. Right out of high school, I went in the Marine Corps and I served my country. And I was in the Persian Gulf War in 1991, and I learned a lot of principles or things that basically just build you up to just keep going and keep trying to do the right things when you're in a tough situation. So I learned a lot of those qualities. I think, by the time I was 22, growing up on the farm, going in the service and serving my country, and then getting out, I ended up getting a degree in health and human performance and business. And for the last 2.5 decades, I've been in the fitness industry and owned, like you said, multiple or different gyms and expanded my businesses there. And I've had the good and the bad and the ugly, and we can talk about those, I'm sure. And so I've experienced great success, but I've also experienced great failure in business and in my personal life. So I've been through a lot, but I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And the one thing that I think my message is, or that I try to convey to people, is get back up. The comeback. And if there's one word I would say that would describe me, it's resiliency. And I try to convey that message when I speak with others, when I do my speaking engagements or all my coaching clients. If I can teach you to be resilient, because it's not a matter of if we get knocked down or if we fall down or if we fail. There's going to be things along our path that are going to almost could destroy us. And I think if we can have that mindset that we're going to get back up, get back in the game, we got to keep going. And there's better days in front of us. Not that it's always easy, but that's sort of my mindset or my theme or my mission that I can convey to people. Get up, keep going. We got this.
Victor, first of all, I want to thank you so much on from my end for your service in the Persian Gulf War, because I know as a soldier it is a really tough time. And also my parents were living in Kuwait at that time when Iraq invaded Kuwait. And so I as well as my parents are really thankful for the American forces pushing back the Iraqi army. So I wanted to thank you for that, you know.
Thank you. Thank you. So you lived it. You went right through it.
No, I was actually in my mother's womb at that time, so I wasn't even born. Like, but they were refugees and like they were immigrants, and then the
Mm.
army invaded, and they had to go to Jordan and then fly out to their home country from there. And so yeah, they told me about the war, and it was pretty intense. But my question I wanted to ask you, Victor, is that from there you went into the fitness industry. Like, what was the transition point where you decided that you wanted to go into the fitness industry?
Well, it's funny because I've always enjoyed fitness. I've always enjoyed working out. And like I said, I was an athlete I played sports and baseball and football in high school. And then I, I played some football in the Marine Corps. And I'm like, gosh, you know what? I actually was considering going in the FBI. And I tried some things or did some interviews that didn't work out. And I'm like, I've always loved fitness at the time. And again, this is 26, 27 years ago. Fitness was just getting on the scene that you could be a personal trainer. Prior to that, there wasn't really much of a career in personal training or in fitness services. And then I was like, this is sort of fun. And I'm enjoy fitness. I love to work out and do all that. So I ended up getting a degree in that and then a minor in business because I knew that, hey, if I could do anything, I want to have my own gym someday and help people get fit. And I enjoy that line of work. And it was more of a passion project that I thought I might do this for a while, maybe 5, 10 years, have a gym. And I never would have guessed that, 26 years later, I'm still in the industry. Um, I've just sort of connected the dots that if I can make money at something that I really, really enjoy, and it was fitness, and I really love to work with people, and I love to help people, encourage people, inspire people, it was just a perfect fit for me. So as things have changed and transitioned through the years, I started with a large corporate gym and sort of, learned learned the ropes a little bit, if you will. It's like so I've learned how to, sell. I've learned, some soft skills, some, just how to communicate and how to present. And then, you grow that. And after a while, almost 7 years, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go on my own. So I took the jump. I opened up a small personal training studio and I didn't have that very long. That was 2.5 years. And I remember looking up one day, we only had 2,000 square feet. And I think there was 23 people packed in this small, really small room, basically. And I'm like, okay, I'm outgrowing this. We got to go bigger. So then I always say that's where I should have. I sold the business. I went bigger. I should have stopped while I was ahead of myself. I got a little cocky. I ended up getting two investors. We ended up opening this multi-million-dollar facility, just a gorgeous gym. I call it a tweener. It wasn't a big gym. It wasn't a small gym. It was right sort of in the a middle, mid between gym. But everything was sort of the Taj Mahal of fitness. Everything was super nice. Um, from our countertops to the flooring to everything. And we did that for about 3.5 years, and then the recession hit. We hung on through '08. We basically made it till June 30th of 2009, and then our doors got closed. Make a long story short, went through a bankruptcy. That's when a lot of, I would say, my problems either came to a head there. Things started to fall apart personally. Obviously, professionally, I was on the bottom, and I had to sort of look at where am I going to go from here? How am I going to reinvent myself? Or what's my next move? So then I just, I don't know if you want me to keep going, Cosmos, or anything.
No,
Just
no,
please interrupt.
no. I want you to keep going because this is an
Okay.
interesting story, you know?
So I mean, we were doing decent up to that point, but again, we couldn't weather the storm. Everybody, at the time when the recession hit, businesses are closing down left and right. What we sold was, personal training and fitness services and massage and nutrition coaching. So it wasn't sort of a need that people needed to have what we offered, and that we were a high-end gym. So one of the first things that people cut was their memberships, or they stopped coming in using our services. So when that all went away, um, I had 90 days where I basically had to figure something out because I had to make some money. So I ended up 90 days later, I opened up a boot camp training facility, which was a group training facility. And what a lot of the stuff that I did in the Marine Corps, like you said, how when you introduced me, I use that in my training. And I think that's why it's been so successful. Again, if the Marine Corps can do it, and if that's how we train our young men and young women to defend this country, I want to use a lot of this protocol or some of these pillars in my training. So 90 days later, I open up across the street and basically just start getting my clients back and get people to come back in. So we were able to get this thing going again. And then it helped me get through that tough time of, I mean, there were moments of, believe me, it was like, oh my gosh, here I am devastated. I've lost my business. And then at the time, I was going through a divorce. My first wife filed for divorce. I had three small girl daughters at the time, and a lot of things in my life were just, I felt like I'm losing. I've lost it. I don't know if I can do this or if I can keep going. I went through a bout where I struggled with severe depression. I almost took my life. It was a very, very hard time for me because I had a lot of my identity in the success that I had up to that point. And then when it all basically overnight fell apart, it was really hard for me to sort of keep going again. So it took a lot, whether I had, this is the support of other men that helped me walk through that, counselors. I really leaned on the faith. I really on my faith. I really leaned on God a lot. And he really, really helped me walk through a lot of these things so I could make it to the other side. So then, anyways, I open up this boot camp training facility. It grows, it grows, it grows. We have super success. And we were doing that. I don't know if that was 7, 8 years. And then all of a sudden, I hit the wall again. Then now this time I'm just physically, emotionally tapped because I'm working too many hours. Some days were 14-hour days, and I had a small staff of trainers working for me, and we just were just on one hand it was going good, but on the other hand we were just burning ourselves out. And I remember sitting down one day writing the rent check to pay the rent for the facility, and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. I don't got it in me. So I don't know if we finished up another 3, 4 months. I didn't renew my lease, and we basically just shut her down. And sort of, I'm the same thing again. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm at the end of my rope. And this time I'm just emotionally tapped out. But this is what I know. This is what I do. This community sort of knows me as, this fitness guy, this fitness guru. Um, so I started to get back into it and I built it back up again, tried to do a little smarter this time. I'm working a little bit more, on the business instead of in the business. And, we did some really good aggressive marketing campaigns and stuff and built this thing up to be pretty nice. And it was going super good again. And we had a new location, and then COVID hit. Now, COVID hit, and at the time in 2020, if you couldn't go to a gym, you couldn't do anything in person. So it's funny because on one hand, I was like, thank God I'm so burnt out again. This was, it's been going good for the last few years, but I don't know if I can just keep doing this. And it was a wake up call for me. But on the other hand, that took care of my revenue, so we were wiped out for a few months. I had nothing. Gave me some time to sort of figure out how I'm going to do things or what I'm going to, what my pivot's going to be. So I started this online coaching, high performance coaching, executive coaching, which I take the fitness and the health side of it and then tie it into more personal development as well. Because I believe there's a strong synergy between the success that we can have with our fitness routine and taking care of our health and our heart and our muscles and our mind. And it can bleed over into having success professionally in our daily habits, in our environment, in those that we surround ourselves with. So I think there's a lot of synergy between fitness and in business growth in the strategies to become successful. So COVID's going on. I start this online training and coaching business, and it started taking off, started getting some traction. So sort of brings us up to today. And this was a few years ago. So part of my business is still boot camps and in person. And the other part is online executive health. I call it health leadership success coaching because again, I'd like to do more than just help someone get a good fitness routine or lose 50 pounds. I want this new routine and the new habits that you're going to create impact and change the rest of your life as well. So that sort of gets us caught up to speed for today or to where we're at.
No, Victor, what I noticed is you went through a lot of ups and downs and you went through like depression and a lot of people like when they try to do business and then they fail like and they feel depressed and I think they don't feel like they can go on or like start it and like a lot of people are afraid to even try. So what was your mindset going through it? Like how did you push past that negative spell altogether? Because it's really hard to do, you know, for most people.
I totally agree. And I think it is a mindset that you just make up in your mind that you're going to do. And I don't know if everybody has that or not, or, you know, to be honest, I think maybe some people are just, I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree. I'm not the smartest guy, but I think when I put my mind to something, I decide that I'm going to do this. I'm very loyal to the cause. I'm very loyal to the purpose. And when I find something to get behind or to fight for, and for me, it was, I think I really like to help people. I like to help people change. I like to help people grow. And I just happen to do it. I think my natural bent or my craft is in the fitness industry. And like personally, I've never struggled with having to lose a lot of weight. I just like to do this because if I can relate to you when you're down there trying to give me some push-ups or squats and you can't have any, there's none left in you. I want to coach you and encourage you, inspire you to do one more, to do two more, to do three more. And that really fulfills me. If I can get the best out of you as a good coach should, it's about the team, it's about the person. So through these failures, through these setbacks, there were times where I'm like, I'm done, I can't do it. I'm just tapped out. I'm a broken man. But whether it was at the end of the day or the end of the week or the a couple of weeks later, I look in the mirror and I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. So just having that again, the word I might say resilience or resiliency 20 times today, but it's like having that backbone of resiliency that this is how we're going to do it. Now, I might have to go back to the drawing board and change some things. I've had a small personal training studio. Then I had the big, multifaceted gym. And then now I have a boot camp training facility. So I have the niche that really works for me that I like and that I'm good at. And then, the failures of the recession, but there's things too that I could have done better as a business owner. I could have run the business, better and a lot more efficiently than I did. So we go through a lot of these things and we learn it too. And then when we learn it, it's like, all right, now that I have experience here, what can I do the next time that's going to be better? There might be 10 things that I know that I'm going to do different. And again, the hardest, I hate to go through the negative or the failures. None of us want to, but that's when we really learn. That's when we really grow. That's when we can glean those things that, hey, if I would have just applied this last time, I don't think I would have struggled in this area, this revenue stream or something here. And again, I don't like to, no one likes to fail. But failure is probably the best thing for so many of us because that's when we really learn. That's when we get those nuggets to take to apply into that next. I mean, it could be our next career move, our next relationship, our next whatever it is. But now that we took those things and we can apply them, um, we can grow and expand and become successful from that. I've always said too, is if people ask, if you could speak on one thing, if you could get up on a stage and speak on one thing, other than resiliency, I'd probably say failure because I've learned so much in my life by going through failure, setbacks. I mean, again, growing up on a dairy farm, my dad was pretty firm with me. And I remember being as a young little boy having to get up at 5 a.m. to milk the cows. But he instilled that in me to get up and go to work and make it happen and to be a hard worker. And then I go in the Marine Corps and you learn all this, when you fail, when you slip up, when you screw up, it's like you got to get back and get up and get going again. We're here to fight, we're here to defend, we're here to protect. And to have that tenacity, resiliency. And then again, professionally too, through my life, and even just going through, depression too, and mental health struggles. I mean, I could end it all today, but what good does that do? Then I let to me then I'll say I let the enemy win. Then I let the enemy win. I got to rise up. I got to figure this out. I got to get my head on straight. I've got to do things that help me, whether it's simple things like I preach about drinking your water, eating your vegetables and fruit and protein, getting your exercise, doing those simple things. And then getting your mind on right, reading and listening to the right things that put me in that right mindset to face this day, to tackle this day. So if I can do those things where I'm good and strong mentally, where I'm not going to take this dip down of a depressed state and I be there for days or weeks, I'm not good to anybody. And the enemy wants us to quit and wants us to give up at that point. But that's when we can't. We've got to rise back up and get going again.
Victor, what you're saying is pretty true. Like resiliency and like the way you look at failure is it makes all the difference between overall success. And a lot of people, they're afraid, like emotionally attached to the idea of because failure comes along with like like shame and humiliation, like self-esteem issues altogether, right? Because it goes a lot into a lot of people's self-esteem. So my question to you would be, how would somebody develop the resiliency to combat setbacks in their life if they don't already have so? Or is it something that's already innate in people, or can it be built up over a period of time?
That's a great question. I actually don't, I mean, some of us may have different levels of innate in us, but I think you only get stronger as you go forward and you go through the trials. When I face tomorrow or whatever I'm going to face tomorrow, that's going to be my trials for that day. Now, how am I going to persevere through this? And I believe we need to, have mentors in our life that we can follow and adhere to, people that we can look up to, people that we can lock arms with, whether I mean, it could be a good friend, it could be a counselor, it could be a spouse, somebody that we can continually to have that person have their support. And it may not be just one person, it could be a handful of people. But the more that but we got to keep walking that journey. I think for me, it's important that I read my Bible every day. And I also read some personal development every single day. I get up super early and I have to spend my first hour of the day doing that. If I don't do that, if I don't set that tone for the day, again, not to say this has to be for everybody at all, but for me, my day is off. And I've ingrained that in me because I love that habit. I love that, the ability that I'm going to sit, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to pray, I'm going to try to fill up this mind with the good, positive mindset that I'm ready to go. Because once I walk out that door, all hell could break loose. Challenges are going to come. There could be customers, clients that are, having issues, or, it could be a litany of things. But if I have my head on straight when I walk out the door, I can handle those arrows coming at me left and right, left and right. And again, not to say that I'm perfect or that I have it figured out, but I believe if we can follow people, whether it's a mentor or a friend, a sage, someone that we know that, oh my gosh, this guy is good, and feed off of that, their wisdom, follow them. And then also us, reading the right stuff, filling our head with the right stuff, even listening to the right music that puts us in a mindset that, hey, this is a battle I've got to fight and I got to go forward. And how am I going to do it? So the more that we can fill ourselves up, um, with the right curriculum, if you will, we can face those battles a lot better. And I think we're going to have a lot more success. And again, we're going to have some failures along the way, even though we're doing all the right things, the A, B, C, D, E. But then we're going to get over it. We're going to get back up and we're going to go to that next level. And then that next failure that we have down the road could be totally different. But again, now we're at a new level, so new level, new level, new level, which is what I think we want to be doing.
Like I would love to I would like to add to that I think like like competitive sports and like doing competitive sports or going into military training like you did in the Marine Corps and going to fitness also helps a lot with developing resiliency because your body can endure only so much and you have to develop something called willpower. And I know this because when I was in school, when I was like 16 or 17, I used to run track and it was competitive. I was running competitively, right, for long distance. And when I'm running with this other person and going at a certain speed and it's long distance, my body wants to stop, but my willpower and my will to win, it keeps me going on and on and on. And I realize that when I train that way and like I'm going out on the track and I'm practicing, like that developed my resiliency a lot.
And you nailed it. And I think that's why I love the fitness side of things and the real life side of things, because I mean, you learn from both of them. But when you're running and you want to quit, your legs are tired, you feel like your heart's going to pound out of your chest, but there's something about you. You know what? I can see the finish line. Or know what? I just got another, I don't know, it could be 100 meters, could be another half mile. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. And if we can have that same enduring mindset when we hit the real hard things in life, we go through a divorce, a bankruptcy, for me, battling mental health. Um, there's so much challenges in our lives, and we're all going to experience different ones. Everybody is going to have their own set of circumstances. But if we can do that with a fit body and a fit mind, we can take on those challenges a lot better. Some people are just naturally, they can do it, they can handle it. But I don't think I think that most of us need that fitness routine, need that daily routine where we're filling our mind up, our body up with the good nutrition, the good mindset stuff, whether we listen to the good podcasts, listen to the right music. We need others to glean from that can encourage us and inspire us to keep going and to keep moving forward and to just stay in the battle. Sometimes it's like, hey, this is tough, this sucks, but I just got to stay here. I got to keep persevering. I mean, I think nowadays, this is in my opinion, I think we're sort of losing that persevering, but then also the patient side of things. I think we see things with everything can happen so immediately, which is amazing as our technology nowadays. It's absolutely incredible. But I think because everything we get quickly with technology, we want it quicker too. And I think there's things we got to go through in life. There's seasons of challenge. There's seasons of struggle. And if I'm training for a marathon, I'm not going to train for a marathon in 1 week and be ready to go. This is going to take me multiple weeks and months to be ready for this marathon. And that's what life is about. So if I know that I'm starting a fitness routine today and I need to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to stay here and just keep chipping away one day at a time, one step at a time. I'm just going to climb that ladder. But that's the same mindset I think we should have about our lives, no matter what we're going through. And we could all be going through something really tough, really hard right now. But if we can, hey, you know what? What can I do today? I need to encourage or inspire myself to keep going. You know what? I want to quit. I want to give up. And there's times where we might need to just take a break. I tell my clients, hey, you know what? You need a break. Just take a break. We need a 2-day break. Take a 2-day break. I'll see you on Monday. And sometimes we just need to just sort of take a break. But you know what? That break's got to be pretty short. Then we got to get back in the game and we get going again. We don't have to run a marathon on Monday, but we got to get back to our training program, because once we get back in the game and we start doing those things, you feel better. You feel better once you start doing it. You don't feel better beforehand because you don't want to do it. I would say, no one really wants to work out. I mean, some people might enjoy it and it's fun, but the majority of the population doesn't like to work out.
I
But
mean,
once you do it, I've never had anybody leave a workout and say, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I've never had anybody leave the gym saying, oh, I wish I wouldn't have come in today. Nobody said that. They've done it and they feel like $1,000,000 when they walk out that door. But again, that's life too. We go through those challenges, those struggles, those things that, you know what, I'm walking through the pit. I'm walking through this valley and it's tough, but we got to keep going because there is a light up there. There is the end. The tunnel it's up there. It's coming. We just can't stop for too long. We can't, lay down and die and give up and let the enemy win. We just got to get up and keep going.
I think you talked about it beautifully, and one thing I wanted to add is like knowing your why and having a powerful why helps you do that. Because if you have like an emotional why, like something that's deeper, like it's nothing to do with money or anything like that. Like it could be your family, it could be your faith in God, or it could be your vision for your entire life. Then like when you're going through the worst times in your life, like you know that if you survive through this, you can make an impact, that it'll be a story and you can actually change the lives of other people. Because right now, Victor, like, look at this. Like, there was a time where you wanted to give up and you wanted to take your life, but because you fought through that, and now here we are talking, somebody could be listening to this and they might be in a depression or something, and they'd be like, no, I got to be like Victor, you know? And it makes all the difference in the world. So having a powerful why and knowing that your life can impact others through your story definitely plays a big role, you know? So I just wanted to add that.
Cosmos, you're exactly right. And that's just it. And I won't give you the whole details on this story, but when I want to take my life, and I'm a hunter, I'm a big deer hunter. I remember getting home. I sat on the deck, our patio, and I took my rifle out. I was gonna put it into my mouth, and I was gonna be done with it. And I remember in a few minutes, I've got three little daughters, like I said at the time. This is, years and years ago. And they're going to get off the bus and they're going to walk in that. And as soon as you walked in the doorway, you can see back in our deck or the patio area. And in my mind, I'm like, they're going to see their dad lying here in a pool of blood. That's not how I just want this to end. I just don't want it to go this way. And talk about having a why is like, I want to have a dad that my daughters look up to and admire. And they said he made it through these tough times. He made it through his pit or one of the pits that he had to walk through. And that was again, very, very low spot in my life when the divorce and, you know, being a business success and then a business failure, business person pretty much overnight, and then not knowing how I'm going to pay the bills. Now we have all this debt. How am I going to get out of it? It was very, very, very low for me. But having your why, again, for me at the time, it was my daughters and just like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I got to figure out a way. I got to figure out a way. I don't know how, but all I got to do is worry about today. If I get through today, I'm okay. Then, and then there's other things I got to worry about tomorrow. But if you have that strong enough why, you can walk it out. And it might be baby steps. It might be a little bit at a time. And I love the philosophy of one day at a time, one day at a time. I mean, you get a plan for 30, 69 days out and a year or two out. But hey, if it's when we're going through, when that song is like, when you're going through hell, keep on going. And it's just a one day at a time mindset. That's all right. We just got to keep doing it.
No, I mean, you couldn't have said it better enough, you know? Like that actually like inspires me because yeah, like family is a very strong motivator for me as well. You know, like I think about my dad and I think about my mom and I sometimes I would want to make them proud. So, yes, that definitely comes to mind. Um, so Victor, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is like, other than like the understanding resiliency and all that, what is the biggest lesson you learned overall about just business over your all the ups and downs that you've been through, other than resilience and how to deal with failure and all of that?
Um, there's a lot. I mean, gosh, oh my gosh, because again, I've probably had so many failures. There's a lot of lessons that I've learned. Probably well, the first thing that comes to mind is, and I mentioned it earlier, alluded to it, is being the architect, working on the business instead of in the business so much. One of the things that I like to work, and I didn't mind if I had long days, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, 16-hour days sometimes. I didn't mind that for a while, at least when I was younger, it was not a big deal. Um, so I would wear too many hats. I would be the one, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm going to do that. Oh, I don't want to pay for someone to do some of the cleaning, so I would do that. And or even just from the bookkeeping and the accounting, and I'm like, okay, I'm the face of the business. I need to be, out in front of people, but I don't need to be doing these 22 different things behind the scenes just to try to save a buck or two. That's probably the biggest thing I've learned. And that was sort of hard for me too, because I'm like, oh, I can just do this an extra, 30 minutes here, hour here. It wasn't that big a deal. I didn't want to pay for it. So when I learn the hard way, again, swallow my pride. Putting the right people in the right seats on the bus was a huge thing for me. So um, now that my business is expanding and I'm doing stuff in the online world, I've got people that again are so much better than me, whether they're doing my website, setting up sales calls. This is what they're really good at, and they get to serve the community or they get to serve other people and they get to use their gifts and talents too. So instead of me being so selfish to take away their gift, I'm having them, work for me, and they're obviously they get paid for that. So it's a win-win. So probably that's probably one of the biggest things. And then I just think for because I work with so many people, it's like one of the things that I like to do when I talk to people is I just want to listen to them. Everybody's in a different spot. Everybody has a different challenge. Where are they at? And how can I help them? And maybe not everybody that I talk to with, I may not be able to help them, but if I can listen to what they're saying, excuse me, and I can hear or sense, what they desire or maybe what their struggle is, I want to help them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And it might be just, we might, instead of having a 20-minute conversation, we might talk for an hour and hopefully I help them and I may never hear from them again. Or they may come back and we might have a few conversations before we end up working together, but you know, they just needed someone to listen to them, not to be sold what I was selling them or my services, even though I know what I have can help them. But I really I think I've learned that through the years. People just want to be heard and listened to too. Um, and then obviously just from having your business structured right, having some things from a legal standpoint, in the back office, having all of that. Running a business, there's lots of little things. There's lots of big things. When it really comes down to it, obviously you want money needs to come in the door and need to, work with people, like, because I'm in the service business, I just need to help and serve more people. If I keep that my focus, it seems like a lot of the other little things take care of themselves too. And then if I, again, put the right people in the right spots, in the right seats, we can run this thing a lot better. And then I can do what I need to do as, the president or the CEO or whatever, but then I don't need to be the accountant. I don't need to be the janitor. I don't need to, work with the vendors. Leave that for the pros, and I wear the hat that I need to wear, and the business runs a lot more efficiently.
So Victor, like as a continuation of this, let's say there are like the people from the military that are coming out, right? Like you have war veterans and everything, and there's a saying, like a lot of people say that it's really difficult for them to adjust into society after being over there for like a number of years. So if let's say you had to advise them on how to basically start a business in the fitness industry, how do you go about doing
um, the funny thing is the adjustment that it takes us military guys or veterans, we've got such a gift because we do have a heart or this backbone of great resiliency. What we don't have typically are the soft skills to be a little bit, softer, a little bit easier, maybe even more empathetic. Um, so I think veterans, people that have been in the military, already have probably those big rocks, if you will, to have the success. And at least the veterans that I've worked with, I talk to them, or I guess I would encourage them if I was talking to a group of them right now, do some of the smaller things, the littler things, or maybe even in our mindset, it's the things that I don't want to say are not as important, but I think, typically us military guys, we're like, okay, we're going to take this hill. We're going to go in this direction. This is the track we're on. So, I mean, it's just like A to B, and we do that. And we forget some of the little details. But if we can pause and slow down and sort of backtrack a little bit and worry about the details, or again, get someone to help us with those details, we can have success building the business that we need to build. But I think it might even be you start with a good, honest look in the mirror and say, where do I lack? What do I need? I mean, is it sales? Is it communication? Is it a business acumen? Where do I need? Or maybe it's partnerships. Maybe I need some partners to help me do this. And then you sort of taking that honest look at yourself and say, for me, it was just work, 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 work. I'll figure it out. I'll just work. I'll work, work, work. And again, that was pretty dumb of me. Now I want to work smarter. I don't have to work all day long just to try to keep the doors open and keep everything afloat. So I would say to these veterans, see what your strengths are, but then also take an honest assessment of what your weaknesses are or where you need to grow. And then there's so many opportunities and so many programs nowadays that can help us. So we would just have to look up and do some research and, find the right fits to people. Where do we want to go with this? How can we grow in this area? How can I, be a better entrepreneur? Or, what can I do to increase my sales? What can I do? I don't know how to sell or how to talk to people. What can I do? And we just start a plan, 30, 60, 90-day plan, and then we get after it. And I think as military guys like a plan. We love, a sit rep, something to follow, where we just, okay, I got to do this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday. And, after 2 weeks and 4 weeks, we know where we're at. We know that we're making progress, and we can see that. And then once we start making more money and we have more success, everybody obviously likes that because we all prosper together.
No, that's true. Like a plan of actions. Like for me, like I would want to have like a plan of action as well. Like how do I get from A to Z? Like
Yep.
let's say like I'm coming out of something now. How do I get to where I need to go? So that's true. So Victor, if you could go back in time and talk to your 10-year-old self, right? And then like with all the knowledge and experience you have right now, what would you and like what would you go and tell him? What advice would you give him, knowing what he has to go through?
Well, that's a great question. My first thing I would say is to slow down and enjoy the ride a little bit. Don't take yourself so seriously. I had fun, but I would almost say, hey, you know what? Have a little bit more fun. Life goes fast. It's not all about, you know, um, being number one. It's not all about making the money. You want to make a bigger impact in people's lives, but I think that's why it's important to me that I listen to people. And I've learned that through the years is instead of just, the next, I want to stop and listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know how you're really doing. And again, if I can help you, I want to help you. Um, but I would probably say enjoy the ride, have some more fun, laugh a little bit, don't take yourself too seriously. And again, we all have heard this, life is a marathon, not a sprint. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think enjoying these stages and these seasons of your life, whether you're just getting out of high school or getting out of the military or getting out of college. I mean, that's a season. And then, in your 20s and then your 30s. As long as we're growing, I'm a big advocate for growth and that we keep growing, we keep evolving, we become better. And so I love the mindset training that I do with my clients. It's like, I want you to be resilient, but I want you to grow and prosper mentally, where you have more peace, where you have a stronger, mindset, and you can help other people. Because I think we're challenged right now in this country with the mental health challenges, and whether it's anxiety or depression or whatever the case is. If we can have a good grasp on our thought processes or our perspective of things, or how we can communicate where two of us are totally adamantly disagree with a topic. The only way we're going to get through this or get it solved is if we can have a mature conversation about that, where I will hear you and respect your side, and you will hear me and respect my side. And then we can make progress moving forward. So I think the more that we can have a mindset, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I think we need to have, love and grace and compassion. But if I know that, okay, how can my perspective be, I don't see it how he does or she does, but maybe there's a reason why he or she sees it so differently than me. So if I can put myself in their position and again, take my eyes off me for a minute and listen, it can be a whole different conversation. We can move forward so much quicker with, I mean, from simple things in this country to big things in this country. I think if we can get along, but then have a foundation of, again, grace and love and compassion, things can move so much further along. But I don't know. I guess the big thing I would say is slow down, enjoy the ride, maybe have a little more fun. Not necessarily party fun, but just don't take myself too seriously and enjoy it.
What do you talked about regarding the country is absolutely true. If we looked at each other's side and then we listened to others more, then we would not have the polarity that we're having right now, Because I feel like everybody's on their own camp, but it's a narcissistic two narcissistic camps. And so, yeah, what you're saying is
Yes.
absolutely true. So, Victor, can you tell me in the audience a little bit more about your online coaching business and its premise and all of that?
Yeah, it's so I have a couple online programs. My most popular, well, I have a 6 week program and a 12-week program is my sort of my baby. It's called The Secret Weapon. Um, I love it because weapon is an acronym and it's basically taking your fitness side of things and applying that same concepts, same principles to everything you do every day. It's getting up in the morning and having a good, strong routine. It's drinking your water. It's eating the proper amount of good, healthy foods. It's getting your steps in and exercising every day. It's training your mind for battle, again, for whatever it could be for your battle, for that day. It's about having a never give up, never quit attitude. You know what? No matter what I go through, if I'm going through tough times in my relationship, how's the best version of me? What's the my next best thing that I do? So I talk, excuse me. I talk on all these things in my program. It's fitness focused, but then I take that and we extend it out, and then we talk about how we can apply these pillars and these principles into your life.
That's awesome, Victor. So, are there any other projects that you're doing right now, other than this, that you'd want the audience to get a glimpse into?
The 12-week program is pretty powerful. That's probably my favorite. I also sell a 21 days to victory program. If someone's just looking for a quick start, it's an ebook format. It's a book that I wrote that's a 21 days. It's workouts, it's a daily mindset. And then there's nutrition advice in there as well. So that's a really quick, but a great way to get your fitness started. And then I also love to do speaking engagements too. So I have those services on my website and more information there if anybody wants or is interested in that.
So, how would the audience connect with you and get to know more about you, your programs, and your website?
Yep, just go to my website. It's victorstraw.com. It's Victor Straw, STRAW, just like it sounds.com. And you can see my fitness services, my online programs, and then my speaking, what I do as far as speaking engagements, and then masterminds as well.
Victor, thank you so much for basically giving us this pearls of wisdom regarding how to like view life and everything. Because this was actually a pretty like I was inspired myself, you know, because a lot of people they go through a lot of struggles, but somebody could be listening to this right now and they would actually be really inspired. So I'm grateful you took the time to do this podcast with me and share your story.
Well, I'm honored, Cosmos. Thank you for asking me. And if there's anybody that's listening to this, and if they ever wanted to chat or had questions, I mean, I'm pretty transparent. I'm a pretty open book. I would love to be that person where I could even chat to somebody if they ever wanted to.
Victor, I would definitely want you to have like come back on the show at a later time, you know, because this is a pretty good interview altogether. And I want to conclude this episode by letting my fellow extraordinary Americans know that hey, look, there's an extraordinary within each and every one of us, and it's our duty to awaken it and unleash it. Until next time, bye for now. Hey there, everyone.